welcome.
Thank you.
What's it like to be here?
Awesome. Who couldn't complain about sunny Southern California? So a bit different to Maryland. Obviously, I'm from Melbourne, Australia, so used to the sun and the beaches and stuff. So Caitlin and I, my wife, we like it a lot better over here, just lifestyle and whatnot. So yeah, just acclimated pretty well and yeah, loving it.
What brought you to UCLA for your final college season?
So I sort of summed up at the end of my Maryland season with the coaching staff change and whatnot. I was always going to be going into a new bunch of coaches and that. I wasn't even sure if there was even a spot here at UCLA. So Caitlin and I discussed it. I went home over Christmas and I said, I'm going to try and get to LA. So USC already have an Australian punter, Benny Griffiths, so I knew that spot wasn't available. So we reached out to UCLA and Flintoff from last year, he obviously graduated and saw if there was a spot. And so there was one open. Obviously there was no senior or experienced punter. Also, Caitlin and I, we weren't going to live in Maryland after I was done, so it was a better transition if we were going to go home from here, so I actually want to stay here. So, and I think she's more inclined to go back home. So at least if we're closer to home, I can sort of persuade her to stay here for a little bit longer. So, so there was a bit of thought process and strategy behind that. So,
how's that working? Are you convincing her maybe?
Yeah, no. So she loves it out here. So, so we head down to the beach. Just bought a surfboard. So, getting smashed a few times, but enjoying the lifestyle and getting down to Venice and Manhattan Beach to go for a surf. So
she's from Melbourne
she's
too.
leaning towards staying a little bit.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So haven't obviously had that conversation. So I'm trying to persuade her with every ounce of my being that I can. So even a couple of extra years, but let's just see. I'm sure if hopefully I can make my way onto a roster with that paycheck, I'm sure she'll be inclined to stay. So let's just see what happens. But I just think like with the opportunities that UCLA can provide with their alumni and boosters, just with the employment opportunities here with entertainment and that, it's just far greater than what I had at Maryland. Just this is like the mecca for everything here, and it's only one flight from home. It's 14 hours rather than a 25-hour flight. So I think it's just a little bit better logistically for us. So
What are you studying here?
So I'm studying education, so coaching and teaching. So I got my undergraduate in communications at Maryland, and then I've just graduated my master's in business and management there as well. So looking to get my second master's here at UCLA, and obviously that master's here is valuable. So that's what I'm looking to acquire as well. So that was a big part of the transition here as well.
How is it being around so many younger guys? A lot of these guys are 10 years younger. You're 31?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it's cool. So obviously I'm pretty young and immature at times myself, so they keep me young. I joke around and play games. I probably act like I'm 18 sometimes as well. But when we play Australian football, so when we turn professional back home, we're actually straight out of high school, so 17 turning 18. So when I turned pro back home, I was playing with like 37, 38-year-olds. So for me, it's normal. For these guys, I understand it's a bit, like culturally, it's a little bit different, but for me, it's cool. Obviously, I've had experience traveling, played a pro sport back home before, being at Maryland, had a lot of experience. So I can shed that off onto these younger guys, and especially these younger punters like Colin and Carson. So just with my experience, I'm always trying to help them out, because the better they become, it's going to push me to become better as well. So if I've got better competition, it's going to entice me to become greater as well. So
how does Aussie rules translate to American football?
Australian football is just all kicking pretty much. So you can hand pass, which is essentially somewhat a throw. So it's just all hand to foot. So most Australians, I just see this. I think there's like 50 odd in Div 1 college football. There's about 7 in the NFL now. It's just hand-eye coordination, hand to foot since we're about 4 or 5, ever since we can walk. So obviously punting is just hand to foot. So this roll-out rugby stuff, we can do it with our eyes closed. So that's no issue. So it's a transition into the whole spiral aspect of it. Is sort of the complicated part, but it's not too complicated. It's just kicking a ball in the wrong run, which is essentially like how you guys grow up, just throwing a baseball, throwing an NFL ball. So it's pretty easy.
JJ says he's got some incentives for you for doing some good bowling. How does that make you feel?
What do you mean by that? Sorry, I didn't know.
Most
Six pack.
Oh,
It wasn't Foster's, it was Molson.
No, I don't drink Foster's, but the Molsons don't go down too bad. But I'm not sure if I really could disclose too much about that one.
Do we know, are you the second oldest player in college football? The guy at Colorado's older, I believe.
Yeah, so it's actually Jimmy's like one of my good friends, the kicker. So he's Australian as well. So he's a beast. So yeah, I think he's might be 32.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm the second oldest, and I'll gladly leave that record to him. So I'll keep my name out of the record books.
Now you've got a lot of artwork on. You thinking about doing anything dedicated to your time at UCLA or your life here in LA? Got a lot of artwork.
Nah, yeah, I only just got this recently. So when was it? I think it was in my idle time when I was at Maryland just studying. Obviously wasn't working out and that, and just got a bit bored. So it was either an arm sleeve or leg sleeve. I thought the leg sleeve was better because I could cover it up if I went for a job interview. So there was a bit of strategy about that. But no, there's nothing really more on the horizon. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to wait and see. Can't really do much on the scholarship check, so I'll wait till I get a job.
So with Aussie football, I mean, obviously, it could lend yourself to tackling here. How many did you get in on some tackles in Maryland?
Yeah, made 2. So I don't pride myself on making a tackle because there's obviously a bad punt or the coverage is bad. But if someone's coming down, I certainly won't shy away from making a hit for sure.
And how much do they want to integrate rugby style now this year with you?
I'm not too sure. I think it just depends on the look. So it just depends on what's happening from game to game. We're just going to obviously just watch film the game before, see what they're doing, if they're rushing or sort of what aspects they're doing. So I just say it's week to week, so I'm not too sure at the moment.
So you're left-footed, but you can punt with either foot, right?
I am left-footed. Yeah, I can. I haven't told the coaches that yet because I did it at Maryland and they were making me roll out on my right foot. So it's not really much of an average helper for me, so I just stick to that one. But yeah, I can punt both feet.
You just got married this summer? Is that
Yeah,
right?
so in Hawaii. So went down there. So I literally got here. It was early. Man, I don't even know the months now. I think it was. Do you remember when I got here? It was
July 12th.
Yeah. It was early July, and then I was here for about 2 weeks, and then took off to Hawaii for about a week and a half, and then come back and got straight into it. So it was good. It was an exciting time. Obviously had all the family and friends there, so only get to see them once or twice a year. So it was good to especially see them before the season starts and sort of interact with them.
So no honeymoon then? This is
It was sort of on the back end of it, but I actually cut the time period short because I felt so bad that I was being away from workouts that I changed the flights without Caitlin knowing and booked to come back 3 days earlier. So luckily she was understanding, but I promised her a trip to Mexico or something at the end of the year. So I have to deliver on that, otherwise I might be in the doghouse for a bit. So.
How do you spell her name?
Caitlin, Caitlin.
Thanks, Wade.
No worries.